Hi, my name's Ashley O'Mara. I'm a writer, actor, um, and that's me.
End of conversation. Um, what I suppose I think it's interesting that you do both. And I'm interested in what did one kind of precede the other when you were younger, Ash? It kind of was when you were younger. Was an actress what you wanted to do? Was a writer what you wanted to do, or was neither of them kind of what you wanted to do?
Um, Kind of always wants to be an actor. Did panto as a kid. Gave it up when I was 13 because wants to be cool. Um, idiot. And so then I went to Bolali when I finished school because I wanted to be an actor, and I did 4 years there. And then afterwards, I fell into retail. Do you know what I mean? There was no opportunities really put in place or anything, and I just found it hard. And I was young; I was only 21, so I worked in retail for like even when I was in that college, I was in retail, but I would have worked up heavily there. And then when I was 25, you're gonna laugh at this. I kept hearing the song Fireworks, Katy Perry. And I'm not even lying. And I'd be out in my break at Top Shop and I'd be having a smoke and I'd be listening to this going, I can do it, there's more, there's more. And I applied for the Lear. And luckily enough, I ended up getting in. Um, I didn't get in. Well, no, I went for it, and then I was on the waiting list. So someone dropped out, whoever that was. Thanks. I got in, and kind of the rest is history, and that just kind of took over. But writing wise, I think it was Gavin Costick's class in first year. He got us to do this like writing. You had to write a piece and show it, and it had to be like a minute and a half. And I'd never done that before because writing for me was really daunting because of having dyslexia and everything like that. I was like, I can't do that. Sure. Who would be able to read that? And I did it and I really liked it. And I think, I can't fully remember, but I do think he was quite nice about it and inspiring in a way. And then when we were in third year, Robbie O'Connor was like, we should do this. Like we were in a pub, heavily gargled, when we decided we should go for show in a bag. And luckily enough, we did, and we got through, which is kind of what really pushed it forward. And I was like, oh, you just get a different buzz off it.
Yeah.
I guess is the only way to explain it.
And can we go back to even pre-panto? Like, is your house was arts in your house? Like, is something that you did?
No, absolutely not. So my dad is a painter and decorator. He was a guard years and years ago at the docks. He's a painter decorator, and my mom's a psych nurse. So, and I have two older brothers and an older sister, and our front door was just always open. There was always people in the house. Everyone always crowded around the kitchen table. Like my mom would do anything for anyone. Like she's too good. Do you know what I mean? And my dad's a really good storyteller. Like he's really funny and he loves telling stories and he's good at it. And he's also a good like singer. So like whenever we'd have parties and go into like 3, 4 in the morning, oh straight away he'd be up singing Danny Farrell. You know what I mean? So those things I grew up on. And yeah, my brothers are funny and like they're good cracks. So I guess like we're talkers. We're not a quiet family. Because I remember when I moved in with Liam and my boyfriend first, I couldn't get over how quiet it was. Like this apartment, just two of us. And I was like, are you fine with me? Are you not talking to me? Because I'm just not used to quiet. I'm not used to it.
And but where did it come to you? When did it kind of go? Like, when did the whole acting or drama thing happen for you?
I think I saw a panto and I went to my mom, like, I wanna be in that. And I got into it when I was like 7. And I never got the leads. And I couldn't understand why. Like I was like, how am I not there? Right? And I worked really hard and yeah, it never really happened. There was always someone else who was like way better, the opera singer, or way better this. And I was like, oh, what's going on here? But in that weird way, you feel like you have something inside you. I know that sounds bananas, but you do. You feel like you have something different, I guess. And then when I went to Bolali, like I loved it, like I adored it. It just, when I came out, I felt really lost and fractured. And looking at it now, I was so young. Like 21 is so young. And I just fell into retail. It was great money. Do you know what I mean? And I was going out, I was having fun, I was living my life.
Yeah.
And I don't really regret doing that, because I think you need to live to play things or have life experiences to understand things.
And go back to, say, you were saying about leaving panto being cool. Like in school, was it in your schools that you went to? Was there any kind of drama, or the girls you hung around with, the fellas you hung around with? Was it?
No, nothing. We didn't have anything like that. No. So I would have done the Coolmine panto, which is like beside my school, because I went to Coolmine, which is a huge public school. No, sure. Like when I was in school, I got interested in boys and interested in booze, and you know what I mean, and having mates, and like I wasn't great at school. Because I found out I was dyslexic. Can't even say it. I found out I had dyslexia in fifth year, the end of fifth year, which was a huge surprise, to be perfectly honest. I'd failed my junior cert and I didn't know why, and then they tested me straight away and they're like, "Oh, you're severely dyslexic." And I was like, how didn't anyone cop this? I was a very good memorizer, and I guess I don't know, just kind of slowly just moved along, so I got away with it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But when I did my DATS exams, that's when they found out. So that's when everything kind of blew up for me. And I think I got against school then. And I think academically I was like, fuck everyone. Do you know?
That must have been hard. I mean, Jesus, sometimes it's hard enough getting through school without having a non-diagnosed, dyslexia. That's hard.
Yeah, like it was. Like I think the hardest part was like I had to move French to home ec. I'd never done home ec. Still can't cook. You know what I mean? Like I had to swap geography to art. That was grand because I had to swap it to anything you could do 50% practical.
Okay.
So like that was my kind of like, all right, I'll just swap all these classes and it'll be fine. And it was grand. I passed me leave. It's grand. You know, it's not the best, but it's good. And I think then for me, I always wanted to go into something that was more physical. And I think with dyslexia also I realized that my imagination is really big. And I think I discovered that no one has my imagination. So once I kept that running in my head all the time, I was like, yeah, I can do this. Do you know?
Did you have because that's come up an awful lot actually in these chats about people's imaginations and when they were younger. Did that play a big part in kind of, were you imaginative kid? Like
oh my God. When I was a kid, I didn't have an imaginary friend. I had an imaginary past life called Lupico. And Lupico came everywhere with us for a year and a half. My mom was like, I fucking swear Lupico was eating more dinners than the rest of me kids. Like Lupico came everywhere. Like she was a tennis player in her past life. So I've always had that kind of, big imagination, and imagine that happened, and what would, dramatic. My brother said I cried every day for a year when I was 7. He said every day I cried without fail. Harsh. Probably made me cry.
Yeah, well, exactly. But there could be that as well. So then, was there, when you did a leaving cert, was it kind of like, yeah, okay, I'm going to try out drama?
I knew I'd got into, I think for me as well, like I knew I'd gotten into Bullally before I did my leaving cert.
Okay.
So you kind of have this mad pressure taken off you. And I think for me, it was the right thing. Academically in them situations, I'm not great at it. I'm really not good. Like I'm one of those people who would still fear the leaving cert. And my leaving cert was in a room on my own where someone read it to me. They used to bring me in tea and biscuits and all halfway through it. Like it was great. But it's something that academically and like, sitting down for an exam is something that will always spook me now. And it's something that I'm always going to have to deal with. So I think that's why I run away from sitting tests. So I think that's why for me, even though acting is reading all the time, well, that was a slap in the face. But there wasn't any exams per se. You weren't sitting at a desk writing. And that for me was a massive relief. And that for me felt like I could belong somewhere.
Yeah.
Do you know?
And what was that like then, kind of, that feeling in have that freedom of kind of playing and belonging?
Oh, I couldn't get over myself. Like I was pinching myself. I was like, this is what I'm allowed to do every day. Like it was mental. And like I've made some of my best friends for my life there. And yeah, it was amazing. Like they also do a musical in there, which I didn't know I really liked or didn't know if I had feeling for her. And I loved it. Loved it, loved it, loved it. Do you know, I think for me, I was just so young that you just don't really get a grasp of things then. Do you know, I just think I was really young. I think I needed to let loose and live a little bit more before I went full throttle for my career.
Yeah, and so then, so you went into retail, which is completely different. But I think also the fact of, you know, you probably have to make up characters for yourself to kind of get through some of those days as well.
I was lucky. I was a merchandiser in there, so you know, you're looking at clothes all day and you're picking where they go and how they look, and do you know what I mean? Like that part's brilliant. So you're actually creative in there, which is a ball. It's hard work. Retail's really, really tough work. There's no point in saying it isn't. But the girls and the lads in there are worth a million. Like they're absolute gas crack. Like retail for me at the end, I couldn't do it anymore because I didn't have the love for it anymore. I was like, I need to get out of here. And I only fully left it near enough coming up to 2 years ago when I actually had proper steady theatre work coming in, and I was like, right, now I can do this.
And did you find that, like, were you still kind of in, like, when you were kind of made a step from, say, Bull Alley to go into retail, or, you know, were you going to plays? Were you still in touch with that part of yourself, or were you no, fuck it, I'm just doing this?
No, not at all. Not even in the slightest. Like I'd love to turn around and say, no, I went to theatre and I was artistic and all this. No, not absolutely not that. Went out all the time with my friends. Like, you know, like I went out Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday without fail. Heaven, which is the Blanche nightclub, or to Barcode. You know what I mean? Like that was my life, and I don't regret it though. Do you know?
Yeah. And so what happened then? Like when you say you discovered that you kind of retail wasn't for you, or that you lost a passion for it, how did that step back for you happen?
You will laugh at this. I ran into Liam Heslin, and we weren't together. I ran into Liam and I ran into Rory Dignam on a night out because they both had gone to Bull Alley. So I ran into them in a club. Don't know where it was. Alfie's. It was Alfie's. Alfie's on South William Street. And Rory Dignam was like, you should apply for the Lear. I'm in the Lear. And I was like, what is the Lear? What are you talking about? So like, and luckily enough, the next day he sent me a link to it on Facebook. And that's why I applied for it.
Wow.
And thank God it got in, and it changed everything. Like, you know, I dropped everything for it. Like I dropped from a really good role to a supervisor role, and you know, Topshop were amazing. They let me work at the weekend still and everything, so I kept that on during the whole time. And yeah, I was really lucky.
And that sense of kind of did you find that piece of yourself back again, or did you find that kind of, that kind of tribal thing, or, you know,
Yeah, like I think you don't know what's missing until you find it, I guess. You know, you don't really, you think you're fine, and then you actually do something that you've missed and you go, oh, now I feel at peace, or I feel at home.
yeah.
And that's kind of what I felt like, oh, these people get me, or I get them. Do you know?
And what was that like, say, with your friends and family? And, you know, was that kind of, was that a big thing for them, for you to kind of go, okay, no, I'm actually doing this now?
I think, yeah and no. Like my family are so supportive. Like they're really brilliant. But there's always that fear of what are you going to do? Like, where are you going to be? Are you going to make it? You know, and they also don't understand it. And that's the difference with theatre and film and this industry, is someone who's not in it, they don't really get it. You know, they don't. And they don't get it's for the art, or it's for the love, or it's, you know, I'm trying to tell this story, or, you know, but they were really, I think when I was in third year in the Lear and they started seeing it, and also my mum and dad seeing how hard I was working, they were like, oh, okay, yeah, oh, okay, yeah, okay, keep going. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, no, that's very interesting, because one of the other interviews I interviewed, Paul Allwright, Lethal Dialect rapper, kind of actor, and he was saying
Oh,
that in his
I
house,
went to the same school.
go away, really?
Yeah, we went to St. Francis Xavier's. Yeah.
Because he was saying that in his house, when he was growing up, that, you know, the arts, an awful lot of the art is about kind of, or can be perceived as about being hanging around and kind of waiting and thinking and doing, and that was not perceived as work. Do you know what I mean? That work was work.
Yeah.
And
But that's it. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like, you know, someone like my dad be like, what do you mean you're not out of bed at like by 6:30 in the morning? Like, what are you doing? And I'm like, sleeping. Do you know? Like, you know, because we work at different times and yeah, I think people who aren't in it, they don't really get it. And it's not in a rude way or in a precious way. It's just, I don't know. I think we're different.
Yeah, and do you think that enough is done to kind of help them understand it actually?
Um, no,
Yeah.
no, I don't. I know, I totally, totally don't. I think as a country, we're known for the best literature, the best writers, the like we're living in a land that's full of this beautiful words and beautiful art and beautiful history, you know what I mean? And yet we abuse that in airports when you walk through it. Do you know what I mean? They have the, you know, lines from, oh, excuse me.
You're right.
They have lines from, you know, from Oscar Wilde here or Seamus Heaney here. And you're kind of going, that's fine. You can see people coming from other countries to see that's our literature. But what are you putting into it now? And, you know, and it feels like we keep living in our past where I think we should be focusing on our present or our future. And that for me can be a bit hard because, like, say, me saying someone who's a really brilliant writer now to my dad and him going, who's that?
Mm.
Do you know, is alien to me.
That's
and
really,
I find, do you know what I mean?
that's a really good point. I think there's an expectation of sometimes of, you know, the arts that people should know, but your dad should.
Yeah.
Well, how would he?
I brought my dad, right, to see Thomas Kane Burns' show, right? And my dad's 50. No, he's not. He's 63, right? And he even sings now, your dad's on the gear and your man's on the game, right? Like, you know, and he rings him and he'd be like, Tommy, come here and sing that again, you know? So it's totally, you know, like we can completely understand it and get it. But he only saw that because I brought him to it.
Yeah.
Because I'm, so I don't know how we do that, how we get people in the doors. I don't think anyone's doing a bad job. I just think we need to figure out another way.
Yeah. Go back to
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, we'll come back to that in a minute. Just go back there though to the Lear and that kind of, say, total immersion in the world of theatre, and, you know, tell us about how that felt.
Oh my God. I remember one class, it was breathing classes, speech class. I was told I couldn't stand straight, I couldn't walk straight, I didn't speak properly, I didn't breathe properly. And I went, what do you mean I don't breathe properly? I'm breathing now. You know what I mean? Like, you know, you know, it was a total wipe in the most brilliant way. I found it difficult because I was 25 and you're in a class with 17-year-olds. And I was a person, do you know what I mean? Not that 17-year-olds aren't people.
No, I hear you. Yeah.
But, you know, and it was a total shock in that way because you are stripped back in a certain measure, but the training is unbelievable. You know, I found so much in myself that I didn't know I had, not even just as an actor, but in me, which was really, you know, it's invaluable what I've learned there personally.
Also the quality. I mean, I actually can't now. I'm trying to think when I'm talking to you of the name of the play, but the first time I saw you on stage was with Danny Galligan in
Actions.
Yes.
Contractions.
Yeah.
I love that play.
Yeah, and it was such. Yeah, and it's two very, very mature performances for people who are kind of, you know, I don't mean age mature, but just acting mature. It was kind of, yeah, it was really, really, really great. And how did that feel, kind of bringing that from inside a college situation into a non-college situation? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that was the first play they ever took in the Lear to being professional outside. So it was really kind of like, whoa, okay, this is exciting. And it was Alan actually who was behind that.
Okay.
Alan, he was like, I think this will work and Bewleys will be interested in it. So yeah, it was kind of, I had never re-rehearsed a play before. So that's always interesting because you take a step back and you come back to it. And Annabelle hadn't done it either. So that was really interesting. And we re-rehearsed it in 3 days. But it's funny when you go back to work and you kind of go, I have a different feeling here on this part. Or, well, you'll get that with everything because you've had time and the pressure's off and you've felt it, you've lived it. So when we went back to it, it actually felt much better. And I think we did better job the second time. But I think if anyone gets a second chance to do anything, you can get a better job, you know. But
Well,
that was no, I don't know.
and come here then. Was that around the same time then as yourself and Robbie were kind of talking about doing Rebel Rebel?
It was near bang on in between it. So we would have done Contractions. We got into Showing a Bag, and Robbie and I had that summer, and we did Fringe that September, and then we did Contractions after that in that November.
Oh, okay. And
Yeah.
then, like, because that's a leap from kind of, you know, graduating from the Lear, acting is what I want to do, and then the 2 years going, yeah, but, and there's also this thing that we want to do as well.
Yeah, it was really scary, to be perfectly honest. Like, it's a completely different thing when you write your own work, because if you don't like the acting, fine. If you don't like the writing, oh, you know what I mean? Like, you know, that's your baby. And Louise Lowe is like amazing, and she really, really taught me how to action. You know, I would write yards and yards of prose, and she'd be like, "But where's the action, Aisling? Where's the action?" And to be honest, for me, I couldn't have had a better mentor at that time to learn how to make a play, develop a play, put it together, you know, and also using different ways of not just words, you know, because it was a quite physical piece as well. We done a load of research, like, you know, we done shit tons amount of research. And Robbie and I, who we picked to play, really, I think personally, Robbie suits Sean Connolly and I suit Helena Maloney. So, you know, that already had a good kind of balance between us. But it was mental. It was a really hardship. I remember finding it really difficult and being really worried that it's not going to work. And is this going to end my career before I've even started one? Because you're coming straight out of college and going, hey, here's my writing.
Yeah, but it didn't do that.
That's good. That's so good.
But I suppose, but the interesting point in that though is the fact that you actually, you know, okay, you had a drunken conversation about just going for it, but then you actually the next day you went, fuck it, let's do that. That's a whole other thing to, you know, to work that through.
Yeah, and like, you know what, Robbie's really cool in that way, and I was like, yeah, okay, let's do it, you know, and I'd give anything a shot, and we were really happy with what we put forward. Yeah, I think, do you know what it is? When you're in your last year of the Lear or in any drama school, it turns into the fucking Hunger Games. Who is an agent? Who is an agent? Who is an agent? Who is an agent? I mean, like, you are, oh, did you get a text? Did you get, you know, it's like Love Island. Got a text! You know, and you're like, like, it's fucking terrifying. That's all it's fucking terrifying. And, you know, I was afraid it wasn't going to happen, and I didn't get signed coming out of the Lear. So I was like, even in the midway through it, I was like, okay, let's make work. Let's make this happen. Do you know? And so that, I always have that push inside me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Make it happen. If they don't like on stage, well, then make a difference about it. Do you know what I mean? If you don't like that play and you want to say this, then do it. Stop crying about it.
Yeah.
You know?
No, and I think that's, and well, that comes across hugely in your work. You know, I think that's that. I'm interested in that drive. I mean, you kind of go. I mean, Rebel took off then, and we went kind of everywhere.
We were so, and thank you for taking us too.
Yeah.
The weirdest thing, I did it with you in the Axis. During the day, I was doing it with Angus McAnally in Ango in Bewley's.
Yeah.
I was doing it with Robbie in the Axis because he was in rehearsals for another show.
That's right.
It was gas. I was like, woo!
Yeah, I'd say. And then after that, Aisling, what was next? You know, I don't know what was next. Where did that leave you in your thought process?
Well, I was really lucky because we did that for about a year, and then I also started to do some other work, and I worked with Anu a good bit with Louise, which was brilliant, like pieces here and there. So I kind of started to get a real feel for watching how she makes stuff and watching how she puts stuff together. It's fascinating, and she's extraordinarily good at it. And then I started to do different work. So I did like Fierce Notions or Hostel 16 with Vanilla Gigax and Raymond Keane, which really opened my eyes for another way of theatre to be done. And then I just kind of tread along gig to gig. Then I got Murder of Crows, which kind of opened loads of things for me, which I had an absolute ball on. totally terrifying as well. Totally terrifying.
I think that like there's two shows there. I mean, we'll come back to Murder of Crows in a second, but the Hostel, 16 show, that was, I'd love for that to have got a much longer run, because I think there was something very special, both within that show as a piece of theatre, but also within the people that were in that show. There seemed to be kind of moment in time kind of going on there within all those people, and Ray and Fanula. That must have been an extraordinary experience kind of making that.
Do you know, there was, to be honest, like we were making it and it was really tough because it was really questionable of why are you white privileged people playing these parts? That was always a question that was in the room, and that was the decision that was made, you know, for audiences to relook at themselves when they watch it and go, this could be you.
Yeah.
But it was still really up in the air there all the time. Like all the time, is this right? Is this right? Is this ethically right? Is whatever. And a guy came in from Direct Provision. He was absolutely beautiful. He was the most beautiful man. And he spoke to us and he said, please do this for me. Any way you can get this to be shown and for people to see it. To know that we exist and to know that we're here. Kind of, I think, for everyone in the room that day was an absolute game changer. One, you felt, okay, I have to do this for you. And two, ethically, we felt it was okay. Do you know? And I have to say it was a really, really different, special piece. And it's something I'll always have with me and I'll always carry with me. That's what I mean when theatre is visceral, and that feeling that you can only feel in a theatre watching something live.
Yeah. And
I think.
No, I agree. I thought it was an absolutely amazing piece of theatre. And Murder of Crows, again, was an extraordinary piece of theatre. And I just think, again, the three of you, and obviously, you know, Carl and Laura and kind of the team around that, again, with Lee, there was another moment in time there where, you know, it was kind of different piece of work for Lee. And, you know, it was, yeah, and I'd be interested in your journey on that as well.
Yeah, like that was, he said, like, I remember one day going to Lee, is Jess gay? And he was like, she is.
You're gone on me now. You're gone. Hold on.
You got me back?
Yeah, hold on. I can cut that out. Maybe just go back to I'll do the Murder of Crows thing again. Yeah.
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 So with Murder of Crows, for once, for me, it was the.
You're gone again.
Time. I'll go. Sorry, Mark.
Do you want me to send you another link and we can start again? Would that be easier?
No, this should work now. No. Okay.
So yes, Murder of Crows.
Sorry. Murder of Crows. First time I read it, I was like, this is really good, right? And the first time we read it, then Carl and Laura were like, no, this isn't good. Do another draft to Lee. You know, and Lee was like, and I was like, oh, if people talk to me like that, I'd die, right? So he went off, fair play to him, and did another draft, which was brilliant, and it's basically the one we used, except for a few rewrites here and there, you know, when you're in rehearsals. But Carl's idea to do it out is something I had never done before, and the way Lee wrote it with the quick fire, like one word, I'd never done before. And when you watch Murder of Crows near the end of it, there's Katie and I were in the same dialogue, and Amy's in a completely different world, but we're all one word each. So I think it's brilliant the way he's done it. But I remember for me when we did it in Northern Ireland during the rape case up there, and I remember that being the most. I've never felt anything like it. It was like a vacuum just went into the theatre, like, and you could hear a pin drop, and everyone was just waiting for it, I guess, or feeling the same or having this same emotion in one space at one time. Like, that was exceptional, and that's why I think theatre's there.
Yeah,
because people could feel them.
And then from that, like, I mean, I think you've had a really, really interesting last few years, because it kind of the actor writer thing kind of seems to have become kind of like a juggling act in a way.
Yeah, yeah. Like I think for me, like the people always laugh. I take ages to write. I'm a Virgo. I'm a perfectionist. I don't like people to see things if I don't think I have it right. I can't write really quickly, and I've been lucky that I've been in work as well. I can't split my focus, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
If I'm in a play, I'm in a play. If I'm writing a play, I'm writing a play. I immerse myself heavily when I do things. Um, Not that I turn into your man who like, what is his name? That actor. Anyway, you know, but like I have to just focus on one thing. So I've kind of jumped like nothing but a toe rag
Yeah.
until it was on, which I started with you guys, which was like I can't believe you gave me that like opportunity. It was amazing and invaluable to me. Where we did a work in progress in 2017, for 2 nights, and the play really heavily changed after that. And it wasn't on for till 2 years later, in January, which is kind of actually about a year and a half because it was late November.
Yeah.
But it takes me that long to trial and error it. And I needed that time to trial and error it to see what went wrong, what went right, what works, what doesn't work. And hearing it out loud, that's what I needed to do a lot because you're putting yourself in something. So you need someone else to read it.
And the difference then between, say, again, developing work as a writer and being an actress to then going and working with another house or another organization or the company, like what's that like for you?
I really enjoy it, actually. I love now. I think when you make your own work and you produce your own work and you write your own work, when you go into a room as an actor, you're like, oh, yeah, all you want me to do is act. You know what I mean? But you know what I mean? You're wearing one hat for that day instead of having to wear the 5 hats that sometimes we do,
Yeah.
which is really great. And I love all kind of work. I love working with new work. I seem to work a lot with new work. And I really enjoy that. And yeah, I think sometimes you can always know the balance in a room. Sometimes you give mountains of opinions, and sometimes just shut up
Yeah.
and do your job.
Yeah.
You know,
And highlights in the last couple of years, Ashling, have been kind of, obviously you got to work in very interesting pieces. I mean, it's not. I'm sorry, I'm not asking you to pick one out, but is there one that kind of went, Jesus, that was amazing to be in part of that, or to be.
in something, yeah. Like I just did shit with This Is Pop Baby.
Yeah.
Jennifer Jennings directed it, and Philip Connan did the movement director on it. And I haven't moved like that in years. Like it was like full on, like every day on the floor, getting the grind. You know what I mean? Like I was having to change clothes every day. I was sweating. But what we made and the world we made there, I haven't played like that in so long. And being so open and being so okay to be ugly, which is a really hard thing to do. Even though we say, oh, I don't mind being ugly. Of course we do. Of course we do. And it's hard. But to really just let that go and be, I felt really refreshing, actually. It took me a while to get into it, but it felt really, really good. Um, In Our Veins was a big moment because that was my Abbey debut. So, and I had a ball on that show.
And was that big to you? But did you say your father used to work in the docks?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
And like, did he go? I presume he saw it. Did he?
My dad went to see the show, and all the real dockers were like, "There's Colin O'Mara." Right? I was like, "That's my dad."
Yeah.
Like,
Because
so
that was
like that,
because I was there
that's a real.
on that opening night. It was incredible because there was all us kind of heads from theatre, and there was these group of largely men and their wives or girlfriends or whatever, and just the joy of seeing themselves on stage.
Oh, they were so overjoyed, and like that's why again, it's another reason why I love theatre. Do you know what I mean? It just you could feel it off them. They were so excited, and they wanted to come up and talk to you. And one of them be like, "Come here, come here. Wasn't she terrible to you?" And you're like, "Yeah, she was, yeah." But like, yeah, it was like I have to say that one because it was like my Abbey debut, and I had a ball, and I worked with loads of amazing people on it. But I've been really lucky. I've been busy. I did a really special piece, so it was the first Peggy with Michael James Ford, and that was special to me because it's a piece about grieving, and he was grieving Pat, and they were really close. We rehearsed the play in Pat Laffin's house. We rehearsed it in his sitting room. And Michael was really cut up over losing his friend, and I had just lost Carol. So I was really cut up by losing my friend. And the two of us kind of made this piece through that, I guess. So that was really...
There's a kind of word that kind of come down my head and talking to you, that kind of authenticity, or authenticity kind of seems to be hugely important to you. I mean, not that it's not important to everybody, but just that sense of without having to say that it is.
Yeah, and I totally agree with you. It does come up a lot, even when I'm rehearsing, I'd be like, but why? But why? And that's something in me. Like, I have to feel it gutturally to play it. And if I don't really believe myself, like, I'll fake it till I make it. That's what we do sometimes in work. But I think as a process, I really need to feel it to get there and to get to that place. And I need to believe in the work. I need to really trust whose hands I'm in. I immerse myself when I get a part. I do. I know I do. But that's why I like.
What do your pals and family now think when they come and see it? Like, is there a kind of,
like, now they're into it. Like, like now my mom's like, like Peter Crawley, like, you know what I mean? She has her reviews out, you know what I mean? And how many stars? And I like that one. And that was a bit better. And, I did not prefer it, like, but I love that because, she goes to see it. And my aunties, they're all really proud of me, to be honest. And it's funny saying that because I don't think I've hit where I want to hit yet. Do you know that for me, I don't, like, there's always things we want to achieve, but I'd be a terrible person. And I know I do it. And look, loads of people do it. But I beat myself up over not getting to where I feel I should be or I want to be. And I guess only in the last 2 years, I've kind of pulled that back. Do you know that kind of way? It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. It's taken me really, really a long time to learn that. Like, a really long time to learn that. You're here for the long game, not just to spark early. Do you know what I mean? And that's something that's I've had to ingrain to myself, which is good. And I feel much better within myself because when I was younger, I was like just out of college, you'd be like, what's that? What are you doing? And now I'm like, Grant, it's going to come if it's going to come. Of course, I'm going to work my arse off and still keep doing whatever I need to do. But you still have to live at the same time. And families, like, look now, like, look at the situation we're in right now. If you don't have family or people behind when the stage is over, what do you have?
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you know?
I think you're right. I think you're absolutely right in relation to, it's a long game. And yes, about work, obviously having a work ethic is important, but I think that's kind of what is missing an awful lot of time is that kind of, space to grow and space to kind of be okay, because you're right, family and friends are important, but also putting bread on the table is important too.
Oh yeah. Yeah, like I know now, well, in my head I had put down, I do teaching work, I teach kids drama as well. That's my bread and butter. I couldn't live without that. Do you know? And also I was like saying I might have to get another little job after the show I just did there that like went on for 2 nights. Gas. Yeah. But I know I might have to get some other kind of part-time job just for the interim while I was waiting. Do you know? These are things we have to do. And I probably used to have a bit of shame about it, going, could I work in a coffee shop? I'm meant to be an actor. And I'm like, yeah, you can work in a coffee shop. There's nothing wrong with it. Do you know what I mean?
But it's but it's all part of the same. It's a purpose. You know what I mean? It's kind of
it's a step to something,
Yeah, and I think that's not understood an awful lot outside our profession. Is that if you're on the National Theatre stage, that you have to go and keep yourself fed somewhere else when you're not working on the National Theatre stage.
It's the grind. We don't have enough shows here to keep us all in work, so some of us have to do other things, and there is no shame in that.
No,
in any way, shape or form. Do you know? And you're right, that's something that, like, I'd love if that stigma could be taken away, but you know, fingers crossed it can be. And I think after something like this, it definitely will be.
Yeah.
I think we will have a very different feeling.
Well, I think there is an opportunity for us all to kind of really look at what we're doing and what, you know, I mean, I'm sitting here and I'm salaried, but, and in a way, there should be no shame about that either. Do you know what I mean? So it's kind of trying to find our common ground.
Totally. And it's uniting us all together. Do you know what I mean? And it's going like, well, this is what I have to do right now. And that's what I'm doing then.
Yeah.
And just being okay with that with everyone, do you know?
Yeah. And come here, are you writing at the moment?
Yes, I am. Right. I am. I'm on the second draft of a play that I got a bursary for in 2018 from Tile Style, which was amazing, over the moon with. But again, as I said, it takes me a long time to write. And kind of the more I did a lot of research with this project, and the more I found out, it's about my auntie who grew up in an orphanage. But the more I've actually found out about the adoption agency, the more the story has beginning to spiral.
Okay.
So it's something that I'm on second draft now. So I'm in the middle of that, which is exciting. So I'm nearly at the end. So I won't show anyone until I'm really happy with a good first draft. And then otherwise I've been just writing bits and bobs all the time. Yeah.
Cool.
Just continuing.
Aisling,
just sent you something today.
You did send me something today, yeah, I know. Come here, thanks a million for taking part in this. And it's been great to chat to you. And good luck in now. Actually, this has been recorded on what day? The 10th of April 2020, when we've just received word that the our confinement is going to be going on for at least 3 more weeks. So, yes. So, it'll be 3 weeks at least before we see you for a couple. So, keep in touch.
You keep safe.
All right.
See you. Thanks so much.